Everyone knows New York City is not deserted. So why is it deserted? Or is this kind of my internal projection onto the city? Hi, I'm Holly Zausner. I'm an artist who makes films. I live in Berlin and New York for many years.
Holly, it's so great to see you here in Frankfurt, and now you are showing your recent film, Unsettled Matter, is about New York, or Manhattan, we must say.
The whole film starts with a stunt where I'm in my studio and I'm, working in this harness, which of course is not the way I work in my studio, connected by wires, right? And it is something real that I'm working on. It was actually a very large collage that I was working on. And in the end, the wires break and I fall. And you do not know whether I've been hurt and I'm unconscious or I'm dead. And then we move into the deserted city. And then I became also this kind of film noir person in a trench coat with glasses, dark glasses. So yeah, it creates a kind of mystery, and then we're kind of also back in some sort of Hollywood cinematic moment. But it's no linear, no language, no dialogue. Yeah, just these short scenes of these deserted, iconic places that have some content.
The most impressive, I think, is at the Broadway. You are alone, a black figure in the middle of the Broadway, it looks impossible. Normally, we know the Broadway, it's full of cars and people running around, very busy, and we never walk in the middle of the street, never.
I always believe in doing the most difficult scene the first day, which always people tell me is a huge mistake, because you have a new team, you have to figure out. But I always think it actually pulls everyone together by actually doing the most difficult. So that was an enormously difficult scene. All the stores were open. Hundreds of people were on the street.
Wow.
And how I created it was I contacted the television and film division and explained to them the film and explained that it was an art film. And they gave me free police to close the streets on and off for 4 hours. They had 40 kids with walkie-talkies stopping people from walking into the scene. After 4 hours, only one take worked.
Wow.
There were always people and cars that escaped us. But in the end, I wanted it full sunlight, middle of the day. Everyone knows New York City is not deserted. So why is it deserted? Did something go wrong in this city? Or is this kind of my internal projection onto the city?
Why did you choose Hatshepsut at the Metropolitan Museum?
Yeah, for me it was very difficult to figure out where in the Met I wanted to film, because every place is so great in the Met. They don't have one bad room in the Met. But the Egyptian wing has always been important for me since I was a young artist, and I like to work with sculpture. And Hatshepsut was the most important pharaoh, and she was a woman dressed up as a man. It was the height of Egyptian society. So that's interesting as we kind of struggle to have women in power, as we watched in our last election.
I looked at your films, I saw in every detail a kind of symbol. It is a developing artwork.
Yeah.
Every good work is a developing or open.
Yeah, of course, every scene does have specific content. Like in Film Forum, I very much was interested in filming L'Avventura. I knew it was coming up in 6 months at Film Forum.
L'Avventura.
Yeah. And
Antonioni.
And also, initially, of course, I know the film inside and out. I own the DVD. I've watched it a million times. And initially, I thought I wanted a specific scene. And when they first showed it to me, I changed the scene that I wanted right then and there. I believe in actually a certain kind of finding magic moments. And the magic moment at that time when I was sitting in the theater was one of the final scenes when you just see Monica Vitti crying. That's it. She's alone. The face is large. She's in tears. Her whole life has changed. It's the complete idea of contemporary alienation and how one has to deal with, our contemporary lives, which are really so unstable, and you have to be open to change. So every scene has content for me.
You are very much in film history. You always talk about films when we meet, and you always...
Yeah, that's, I didn't study film. I studied sculpture and painting and drawing and art history, but always from a very young age, I was very interested in cinema, and I lived in Paris and used to go to the Cinematheque. And when I was in New York, I would always go to the cinema there. And of course, when I came to Germany, I had already been involved with the German history of filmmaking. So I was completely obsessed about Fassbinder, Wenders, all of, even Menschen am Sonntag, we were very early 1923 silent films. So my films are also silent. I'm interested in silent films.
But not completely silent.
No, there is ambient sound that I create artificially in a sound studio. But I like it that the films are actually tell a story through visual imagery. One of my last, the film before this one is called Unseen. And I named it Unseen because a lot of things that have meaning are not on the surface, they're things that are underneath. So.
But you work with a very professional cameraman from Hollywood, is it?
Yeah, I had a very good camerawoman in Germany, in Berlin, Jacopine Motz, who also was very good. In New York, I work with Hollywood, New York cinematographer Mott Huffel, who worked with Mary Herron, he did Notorious Betty Page. He worked with filmer Seymour Hoffman. He was very generous. He looked at my films from Berlin and offered to work with me for free on and off for a year to create this film. And, and he and I agreed about meaning, creating images that have content without having dialogue. So it's very important that the cinematographer is on the same path as I am, especially since I play a role in the film. There has to be some level also of trust. But of course, we do everything 40 times anyway, so,
Your films are how long normally, 10 minutes?
Well, some are 10 and a half minutes, some are 16 minutes. It just depends on what I need to actually create this nonlinear narrative. I don't want them longer than 20 minutes. It's because actually, usually they're meant to be seen in museums and galleries, not so much in cinema. And also they're usually on a loop. And so it's really, I think about, like Alfred Hitchcock always thinks about his audience. I think about what is good for my audience in terms of looking at my films. And I think too long of a film, I lose my audience and I don't tell a better story.